Hello, I'm Tiffany Cloud. Welcome to The Storm, and thank you for watching today on WYLN 35. All across this nation, the thin blue line has come under attack, whether it's attack through words, through protests in the streets, or whether it's attack through actions such as bullets firing at police. Cop killing has become far too common in 2016. Today I'm joined by former Hazleton Mayor Mike Marsicano, who is also a Democratic candidate for United States Congress in the 11th District. A person with a long-time law enforcement background, he will be on the show to weigh in on this topic. And we'll also spend some time discussing where he stands on several important policy issues and what we should look forward to seeing in his congressional race. It's coming up on The Storm right after the break. Welcome back to The Storm. I'm joined today by Mike Marsicano. He is a candidate for United States Congress in the 11th Congressional District. Thank you for coming back on The Storm.
Nice to be back.
It's your, I think, third time on my show,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So I appreciate you coming on. You were one of my earliest guests, too, and I do not forget. So thank you for that.
Glad to be here.
Well, I know you have a congressional race coming up. We're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about that. But before we do, I want to talk about something that's been timely and most unfortunate. It's a difficult situation to try to navigate through. Over the course of 2016, we have seen an unbelievable number of protests in the street against law enforcement. A lot of this in major inner cities, a lot of it with minority populations, and there seems to be frustration about police allegations of excessive use of force, unfair targeting of minority groups, whatever the perception is. And the bottom line is this: we now have not only protests, we've had cop killings across this nation. You have a lengthy background in law enforcement, so I wanted to start out by really leaning on your expertise to try to understand how do we find the balance of police being able to do their dangerous jobs and do it effectively, but at the same time heal some of the fracture with these communities.
It's a difficult time today to be a police officer. I believe this time we're just probably on the north side of 22 officers killed already this year, 39 last year. And so the police today are not allowed to do their job. Police, be it the sheriff's office, city, municipal, township, state, or federal, answer to somebody.
Okay.
That person is an elected official. Okay? The elected officials are basically responsible for the type of police department they look after.
Okay.
And having said that, the police in this country are no longer proactive, and they need to be. You know, the stuff with the cameras, I don't know that's such a good deal.
The body cameras.
The body cameras, okay? People have to understand something. These people do not have a 9-to-5 job. They don't work in a bank. They don't interview people like you and I do. They don't drive trucks. They are the final line between anarchy and civilization in the country. Our country has had the finest police departments anywhere in the world. I had the honor to serve with the Pennsylvania State Police, which was the first state police agency in the entire United States of America, founded in 1905. Now, when I was a young trooper in the early 70s, our police procedures were much different. There was no political correctness. I didn't have to worry about somebody calling me a name and spitting in my face. I placed them under arrest, and I did what was necessary to place them under arrest. You see, they don't really spit in the officer's face. They spit on the patch that officer's wearing on his arm. And eventually that equates to the United States of America. We have let police departments become reactive instead of proactive. This Black Lives Matter and the people that are running it, a disgrace, period. You know, to say some of the things they have said when I was a state trooper, you'd have been placed under arrest. You'd have been locked up. You know, we have riots in these cities. Those riots need to be put down. And it's the elected officials, I might add, Tiffany, that allow this to take place, not the police officers. They go to work every day with a vest and a gun, okay? They raise their right hand before God and country, and they're supposed to do a job. It's the political people, you know, and...
So you feel like we're almost, the politicians are almost hamstringing
well, they are
police?
responsible for the police departments. The President of the United States is responsible for the FBI, the Secret Service, and all of the military. The governor of Pennsylvania is responsible for the commissioner. He's the one who appoints them. He's the person that actually regulates the Pennsylvania State Police. We answer to the governor. The city of Hazleton answers to Mayor Cassatt, and so on and so forth. And I can tell you that when I was the mayor, we had a proactive police department in Hazleton.
Is there anything that gets done also on the side of trying to, I'm sorry, this isn't the best word, you know, but trying to heal and trying to, how do you better build the bridge with these communities that are disgruntled, for lack of a better
I think
term?
it's twofold.
Okay.
Number one, you can't take a police department and do a social experiment with it. The law is very clear. The officer must follow the evidence. It may not suit some people, and yes, there are some minority people that are shot by white officers, and vice versa. I, for the life of me, don't believe that a man puts his uniform on in the morning to go intentionally shoot someone because of the color of their skin. It's unfortunate these things are happening. However, you know, we must always side with the police. I'm sorry, but we do. When we see riots breaking out in our cities, destroying communities,
It's sad.
these people they're committing felonies. And you've seen some of the police; they stand back and do nothing. Now, yes, I was a state trooper many years ago, and that wouldn't have stood in those days. And so, what has changed? The police haven't changed. The laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania hasn't changed. The crime code hasn't changed. The elected officials have changed, and maybe the ideology that they follow.
And one of my concerns as well is, how do you get people to want to become police officers in this kind of an environment?
It's very difficult, and remember that a policeman has to be proactive. They have to be proactive. They talk about, you know, the political correctness part of police work. It doesn't belong in the vocabulary of being a police officer. It most certainly doesn't. I mean, the people today, there are a lot of guns on the street today. A lot of guns on the street today. A lot of these gangbangers, they're all carrying guns. They don't hesitate to shoot a policeman. When I was in the police department, that very seldom happened. Very seldom happened. Very seldom would I see somebody curse a state trooper or a city police officer in any state, let alone wave a gun in his face or pull a knife on him. So, I mean, society has changed significantly. Yes, there are some issues, and there are some big issues in the minority, you know, areas of our country. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're all Americans. This is America. We have to work together. And I believe that the decisions are made right now are made on a political ideology to protect the politician.
Okay.
Because I think if you follow the evidence, whether it be law or any investigation, as long as you follow the evidence, you're doing nothing wrong except abiding by the law. We don't do that today. Where have you seen a police officer stand there and somebody spit in their face, throw whatever they have on them, light cars on fire, and those police officers stand there? They stand down because the people they work for, the elected officials, tell them to stand down.
Sure. With that, we're going to go to break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about some other things, particularly your race for Congress on the 11th. So we'll be right back on The Storm. Welcome back to The Storm. I'm joined today by Mike Marsicano, candidate for Congress in the 11th Congressional District. Okay, so you have a general election race right now. We'll be deciding the congressman for the 11th District in November. I wanted to get a sense of, you're running as a Democrat, but I wanted to get a sense of, you know, your opponent is all in for Donald Trump. I mean, all in for, he's in his inner circle, you know, that's his guy. I want to get a sense of not necessarily who you're all in for. More so, I want to hear where your policies most align. Is there one candidate versus another where your beliefs and your policy positions align, or do you have certain positions from each candidate? I'd like to hear a bit about that, to get a sense of your vision.
Yeah, you know, I do. And historically, in a down ballot election, especially on the federal side, you always follow the top of the ticket. I think what's going on today on both sides of the ticket, that's not happening right now. I've talked to other people, Republicans and Democrats, down ballot candidates, because it's such a volatile situation between Clinton and Trump. And so my position is I'm running for United States Congress in the 11th Congressional District. And to answer your question, my answer is this. I am basically a blue dog Democrat. I've been a conservative my entire life.
Okay.
I'm a Second Amendment guy. You know, I belong to the NRA. You know, I'm a life member of Safari Club. You know, I belong to a 1,000-yard 50 caliber shooting society for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, my background is law enforcement. You know, I love my country. I believe in a strong military. I don't like the tax code. I believe the health system needs to be tweaked. And if we need to do away with it and replace it with something, I think we need to do whatever needs to be done to protect the American people. That's what my campaign is about. I am here to represent the American people. I do not think they're being represented in the 11th Congressional District. I also believe we need term limits.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that.
I'll tell you about term limits.
A lot of people say that, and then once they get in, they don't do that.
Listen,
so help
Tiff,
me.
here's the difference. Our government right now is not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is. And we have 435 congressmen and 100 senators who are supposed to serve the people and the government as an honor, not as a career. And their jobs are to keep their jobs. We have a congressman that I'm running against right now. After this term, he gets a $177,000 retirement for the rest of his life. $177,000, Lou Barletta, for the rest of his life, if he wins this term. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he doesn't, understand. But term limits, the people that we have in Congress and the Senate and the 100 senators will never vote themselves out of a job.
Well, sure, yeah.
They won't do it. So we need to take the people. It's the people of this country that are the determining factors of everything. It is the people that are no longer here. The 9,837 that are at Coatesville-sur-Mer overlooking the beach of Normandy. You know, the people that served during the First World War, Afghanistan, Korea. Those are the real heroes. Those are the makers of this country. The people that we have in Washington are temporary. The dysfunction we have there with an 87% unlikability rating is phenomenal. I've never heard of it. And so I am all about term limits. I believe in going and serving and coming home.
From a policy standpoint, where do you believe you and the incumbent congressman in the 11th differ?
Well, let me just start with Hazleton, because we're both from Hazleton.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know what he did in 6 years. St. Joe's Hospital, when I get to Congress, I'm going to make sure that gets turned into a Veterans Administration department, okay? It was supposed to, I don't know what it's supposed to do. It's a disgrace. My daughter was born there in 1967, magnificent building. The Hazleton Police Department and the drug problem we have in this, it will be addressed by me. I'll put a federal agency on Broad Street. I'll bring the state police and the local agencies together like I did, and I'll go after these people, okay? Getting back to the veterans, I've been through all 9 counties, as you know.
Yes.
I've been to most of the administrators. I've talked to them about their choice program and the 40 miles. Our representative is never seen. And I don't want to talk, I wish Lou was here. And actually, I wish he would sponsor a debate between the two of us.
I'd be happy to host a debate.
I'm asking everybody because he doesn't seem like he wants to debate.
Well, I did ask him. I did ask him on my show. I did tell him that you wanted to have 9. He said he will be agreeing to debates. He wouldn't give me an exact number on that.
Well,
I'd be happy to host one.
Anytime, any place,
Right.
anywhere in the
Okay.
9 counties. Okay.
All right.
So that's the big difference.
So I understand that you're saying, one of the things you're saying to me is that you don't believe he's been seen enough throughout the 9 counties that make the 11th
Well,
congressional
I don't know what
district.
he's done. I mean, we sit on the Capitol Hill, or the Anthracite region. You know, I mean, I see his picture in the paper, but we have people, and I'm involved with the coal business because, I'm in the steel business. And, everybody's laid off, whether it's Blast Shock, and of course they were bought out here by coal contractors, 40 Shaft and most of the coal operators, everybody's laid off. Nobody's doing anything. And the help needs to come from Washington. Our town needs to be rehabilitated through Washington. Steelton needs to be rehabilitated through Washington. Nescopec needs to be rehabilitated through Washington. And the reason I say that because that's the job I'm seeking. That's what the House of Representative designee is supposed to be. Listen, I've been all through this county, okay? And we're 70-some days out. I'm not worried about the presidential election. I'm worried about the people that I want to represent in the 11th Congressional District. I don't believe they're being represented. Now, I'm telling you, I spoke to over 3,000 households in the primary, and we're out there every day. And so I do not believe we're getting the representation in the 11th District that we should, and that's why I'm running.
One of the areas where your opponent, that he would consider his strong suit would be his positions on immigration. Would you say that your positions on immigration on that particular subject are similar to his, dramatically different from his? Where do you stand on that one particular issue?
Let me tell you what my position is.
Okay.
And his record will speak for itself.
Okay.
If you're in the United States of America illegally, you're subject to deportation. That's the law. Period. Short and sweet. This didn't occur last night. It didn't occur on Clinton's watch. It occurred back in 1980 when I was a young captain at United Airlines flying those border cities in McAllen and San Antonio. I remember people getting on those airplanes, and I remember having my co-pilot call operations landing at Houston Intercontinental and say, we just had people get on the airport with no passports. At that particular time, and I'm talking about like maybe 1982, nothing could be done. But that's the message we got from our operations people through the federal government. So this did not just start a few years ago. And so if you're here illegally, you shouldn't be here. Okay? How we resolve 11 million people, listen, I am not, make no bones about it, I am not for rounding people up, take them out of their house in the middle of taking people, they're human beings, okay? They're here illegally. The government failed. The people in the United States that are watching this program didn't do this. The elected officials did. Your Republican Party have been in power here for the last 8 years, okay? There was a lot of conversation on both sides of the aisle between the Obama administration and John Boehner and Mitch McConnell, but nothing got done. Who gets shortchanged? We, the people, get shortchanged. They get their checks, they get their retirement. I'm against that. And the only way these things get corrected is if you put term limits on this, and these people will make decisions. They will make decisions predicated on perpetuating their political existence as elected officials, and that's what the issue is in this country. Term limits is a necessary, essential element of correcting our problem in this country.
Okay, I have to go to the next break. We will be right back on The Storm. Welcome back to The Storm. So recently, you put $330,000 of your own money into your campaign. Tell me why you've decided to do that.
Well, the campaign needed $330,000. Well, you know, when I was on your show initially, when I announced back in July of last year, I said I was going to self-fund, and I didn't take any money. We took one check from one union about a month ago, and I had a lot of people come on board wanting to raise money for me. But at the time, we had an idea what it was going to cost, the television, the advertising. You know, we did a lot of research. I have some good IT people, and we kind of knew where we needed to be. And, you know, I'm committed to do this. I believe our country needs to make some changes, and I don't believe the people that are representing the people in this country, including the veterans, are doing such a good job, including the fellow that I'm running against. And so that's why I'm running. So I took my money, my own money, and I put it in that account, and I said, I'm willing to spend my money because I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in the American people. I believe at the end of the day, after our debates, when they get to see, you know, Lou Bartlett and Mike Marsicano, I believe that the people will make the right decision.
Okay. I know it's probably not been quiet behind the scenes. I'm sure you've been very busy behind the scenes, going door to door, going to different counties as you've been talking about. But in the media, it's been a pretty quiet campaign.
Yeah. Across the entire United States of America, because of the presidential race, there's so much volatility there. If you look at down ballot candidates anywhere, Maryland, Ohio, some of the big key states, Texas, there's nothing. I mean, you don't see any senators spending any money. You don't see any congressmen because the tone changes so much. I don't think we've ever seen an election like this. At least I never have. I could remember Eisenhower and Roosevelt. I was very young. But I've never seen any presidential race that has, the dynamics that this one does. It's a little bit of Hollywood and a little bit of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, no, and it is.
And it's just taken all of the oxygen out. So you sit down with your people and say, listen, do we need to spend X on television? But they're not going to watch my commercials. They're not going to really. So we're out there mixing it up with the people every day, as opposed to putting stuff on television, things on television. And I believe that's what's going on throughout the people have the money. We have the money, but. It's just a very unconventional presidential race this time.
We have about 45 seconds left. When you're out with the people, what is the one thing that you're hearing that's really resonating with you? That they want?
They want somebody to represent them in Washington.
Okay.
That will tell the truth and that will do the right thing and not do it to benefit themselves. That's why term limits is an essential element of my campaign, period.
Okay. People, if they want to learn more about you, they can go on Facebook.
Right.
They could go to your website, which we pulled up on the screen.
Right.
And hopefully you'll come back on my show again.
Anytime.
Okay.
Any place, anytime, anywhere.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck in November.
Thank you.
And remember, folks, when you look around and don't like what you see, don't complain about it. You can do something about it. You can always vote. And thank you for watching.